So, if I were to take the brain, take a slice out of it, look at what I get. They're kind of showing me the slice that I took. Over here, they're trying to represent nuclei, okay, which I tried to draw over there, okay. They're trying to show me tracks that'll go up and down. And then over here, if you were to take that cross section, do you see how we've got the red, the black, we've got gray, we've got white, okay? This is why they were termed the way they were. And in the studies that have been done, we've been able to associate those areas with that processing of information that we've listed. So, for example, if we think about those colliculi, okay, where we had the quad, okay, and we had upper and lower, they're trying to show me colliculi. All right, they're trying to show me the surface, the tegmentum. Okay, they're trying to show me these peduncles. I'm telling you, they got really inventive in lab. All right, they're trying to show me regions of the area of the brain where I would find the red nuclei, the substantia nigra, my medial lemniscus, which I didn't really talk about, but these would be areas associated with the information on the previous slide. And if that's the case, and if I come over here and I look at my nuclei and I'm like, oh, okay, well, if this nuclei is here and I've got this connection to this one here, I've got tracks that'll help carry that information and help with the processing of that information. Yes, no, maybe.
So is the nuclei part of the tracks, forming the tracks?
Nuclei, if we think of the tract, all right, think of the tract as an axon, because the nuclei would be that area of the dense nerve cell body. So if I had a view, if I think about my nerve cell body being in the nuclei, that's going to be this portion, right? Where I've got the body and my dendrites, right? Okay, so this region of the axon, that would have to be one of my tracks.
So can you find nuclei all over the brain and all over the body, or is it just in the spinal cord, the brain?
Now these nuclei that we're referring to here,
Our brainstem.
okay, would be within the central nervous system.
Central nervous system.
Mm-hmm. Nuclei, I know, I wish they, but I get,
different than like last semester.
okay, you know, because our view of a nucleus, all right, is what we think of inside of the cell, okay? But we still have nucleus, okay, because in this nerve cell body, there's a great big huge nucleus, okay? So what they're telling me is in this nuclei, there's just a whole bunch of these. So 2 or more nucleuses, okay, are now nuclei. All right, so I got all my little dendrite, blah, blah, blah. Okay, tracks are going to be my axons. Now, in this area, we have something that's really cool. All right, so throughout my brain stem and making its way to other areas of the brain, I've got something called reticular formation. Now, it looks like this, if I have my reticular formation scattered throughout my brainstem, okay, it almost looks like, wow, information gets to go boom. And as it does that, because this is something that's relatively new, okay, when I say relatively new in the medical field for the brain, that could be as much as like 2 to 3 years or maybe up to 30 or 40. So this is relatively new in the study of the brain. What we do know, it helps with my sleep-wake cycle, habituation. What is that? What term?
Huh? Say your habits.
A habit. No, well, what did it? Just back up a second. Okay? What do you think of when you hear the term habit? Okay? These are the sort of things you think about, right? Okay? Maybe somebody who can't, keep their legs still or something, I'm now talking about my brain. I'm now talking about dealing with information. Okay? We're going to find that the brain has the ability, when we say habituate, all right, meaning sensory information that comes in, all right? What do I mean by sensory information?
Sound, smell.
Sound, smell, do what? Touch, light, sound. Oh, we said sound.
Taste.
Huh?
Taste.
I think it can be effective. But for example, how many of you were thinking about your pinky toe until I just said it? Anybody thinking about their pinky toe until I said it? Now you're thinking about that pinky toe. Whether it's in the shoe or whether it's in a sandal, you're now thinking about that pinky toe, and you probably moved it. Okay? Habituation by the brain means it doesn't have to constantly pay attention to everything. For example, how many of you hear the lights in here until I just said it? You heard them before?
Yeah, just kind of like tune them out. Okay.
We tuned them out. Meaning, it's still a sensation coming in, but the brain basically said, wait a minute, this sound is not life dependent, so I don't have to worry about it anymore.
So is this where like they come into like the ADHD medicine type stuff where, people who may be ADHD hear things that most people don't hear?
I will be completely honest with you and tell you that is an area I know nothing about. I only know that ADD medicine, actually, people are like thinking that maybe it's supposed to be something that calms down, and the effect is one where the person taking it is calm, okay? But the brain region that it affected, it actually excited.
Okay, got it.
Okay? It excited neurons in that area of the brain. That's about all I know.
Okay, gotcha. I was just wondering.
Yeah. So sleep-wake, habituation, cardiovascular control. It's going to have an effect on the heart and the blood vessels. And then we get pain modulation. The body's concept of pain is amazing. Now the cerebellum, it's attached to the brainstem posterior to the pons. So midbrain pons, attachment to my brainstem occurs throughout this area for the cerebellum. So, I was pointing, so y'all should have corrected me on that. My cerebellum, which I kind of drew kind of small down here, which I really shouldn't have. I should have given it more room. Okay, but, okay, try to think of the attachment coming through this way. Now, peduncles, ped, feet, okay? The uncle portion, something sticking out, okay? So we got something that kind of sticks out from that area. These are tracts, okay? They help to communicate to other parts of the brain. So if I look at my cerebellum, and if I have superior tracts, middle tracts, lower tracts, superior gets to go to my midbrain, middle to the pons, inferior to the medulla. Does that make sense? The cortex, the outer portion of the cerebellum, gray matter, nuclei in the white matter, which seems kind of backwards, okay? But that's pretty much how it's been throughout this whole structure. Spinal cord was backwards from the cerebrum. Now the cerebellum seems like it's backwards from the cerebrum, okay? So it seems like the white and the gray seem to alternate, inner, out, that sort of thing, okay? But it's all good. The structure of the cerebellum has some terms associated with it. We're going to see that the ridges are called folia because they look like they're folded. All of that ridging within the cerebellum looks like you took something and you just kept folding it like a little fan. Y'all remember how you used to take a piece of paper and fold it and get a little fan, you know, fan yourself? Okay? So it looks like stuff was folded. Then, when you look at the cerebellum and you get to make a, either separate it or make a cut through it and open it up like a book, it's going to look like there's a tree growing through it with the white matter. That this gray cortex, this gray outer portion, looks like the white matter, looks like a tree growing up through it. So therefore, the structure is termed arbor vitae. Does everybody know what arbor vitae means?
Arbor is tree.
It is a type of tree. You can plant arbor vitae in your yard. It's really kind of cool. But just saying, okay? So it literally looks like a tree growing throughout the gray matter. Now, did I get something off course again?
No.
No. Okay. So, my cerebellum. Now, here's the cool thing. We don't really know how many neurons, but the guess, billions. It is the smaller, okay, because the cerebrum is huge. but the cerebellum contains way more neurons. We have hemispheres that are present. Just like we had a left and a right for the cerebrum, we have a left and a right for the cerebellum. This time, do you remember how we had the connection between the left and the right cerebrum with the corpus callosum? Okay, this time the connection of the cerebellum is termed the vermis. That what looks like the trunk of the tree, okay, when you lay it open, that's going to be our vermis. Well, we just said on the other slide, the nuclei are in the white matter this time, not in the gray. Bunches. I'd like to have that many dollars, just saying. You know, it'd come in handy right now.